Good afternoon, punters, and welcome to the finals edition of Spruikers. We're going to talk a lot about AFL and very little about NRL today, so tune out if you're an NRL fan, because we're going to take only a look at one of their games, because we're going to talk a lot about the finals footy. We're going to talk about the All-Australian team. We're going to talk about the Cats.
Everything
likely romp on the way to another flag. But we're going to start with the Bulldogs and Hawthorn on Friday night. The Hawks, $1.38, raging hot favourites here to beat the Bulldogs, $3.60. The Bulldogs' form has been, it's really tapered off, Jake. Can you see them coming good and
Yeah, look, Tags, I suspect
winning?
that they've kept a bit up their sleeve, the Doggies. I think Rodney Eade's a shrewd character. I think haven't been playing blokes that perhaps could have under duress, and I think they defeated Hawthorn early in the year, so they got the game plan to knock them off, I think. But that said, you can't knock Hawthorn's form, but I think that's too short, $1.38.
Yeah,
that's my only gripe. I would tip them to win, but not at that price. I'd lay them at that price and hope for something better.
I think that'd be a bit of a lay there as well. Rodney Eade, he hasn't got a great record in September, has he?
Well, he's taken Sydney to a grand final in his first or second year, so he's got a reasonable record. And the Doggies went to the finals in his first year as well in 2006. So
gone much further. All right.
Yeah,
be interesting anyway. $1.38 the Hawks, the Bulldogs $3.60. The line is 18.5 points. Adelaide and Collingwood at Football Park, $1.66 the Crows. Collingwood $2.50. The Crows look unders for me.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tags. I think Collingwood, with their backs to the wall, they've got good finals experience, some tough players. They play well at Footy Park. I think if they had those couple of blokes who are missing for obvious reasons, I think they'd be almost a shoo-in. It's going to be one of those low-scoring slogs. I don't know what the weather's going to be like in Adelaide, but if it's anything like last week, perhaps Adelaide have the ascendancy. But I think Collingwood are overs, and I like them at that $2.50, mate. What
about the line, though? If you were going to back Adelaide, the line, it's almost even money, the line, which is set at 8.5 points.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way you'd go.
I think you'd go there that way. That seems to be the value. Because that's only a kick and a half, and surely
it seems out of whack given the match odds prices.
There might be a bit of a discrepancy for punters to take advantage of there. The next game is Sydney versus North Melbourne. Sydney $1.81, $2.22. That's Miranda Kerr calling me, I think.
I think it would be. Just wait 5, Miranda.
Roast dinner Tuesday night, though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Anyway, Sydney, who I think you fancy, $1.81, and North $2.22 at the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah, I think Sydney getting O'Keefe and Goods back, and that combined with the fact that they've won 6 of 8 in finals at the Olympic Stadium, I like Sydney, and I think the $1.81 isn't a bad price. I know you like North. Can you explain why, Tags?
Because I think Sydney, besides St Kilda, are probably the worst team to have made a finals in some years.
You are aware that the Kangaroos were defeated by Port Adelaide by 12 goals last weekend at the MCG?
I am indeed, yeah. I think it might have been a bit of a low point, obviously. But you've potted North Melbourne all year. And
I'll pot them for fun.
Yeah, well, I'm going to pot Sydney here because I think they're pretty rubbish.
Okay, fair play.
Geelong $1.16 against the Saints, $6.80. The line is at 32.5 points. Surely the Cats won't drop this one.
I don't think so. There's only 2 ways that they can, or 2 influences that may cause that, and that's Nick Riewoldt. He will be causing the Cats great concern, I would imagine, and the ruck division as well. Should anything occur to Brad Ottens, I'm just concerned about Blake. They
could throw Mooney or Lonergan, or
they could.
They could probably throw Gary Ablett in there.
But St Kilda have Geelong's premiership ruckman from last year. Let's not forget. So
he played all of 2 or 3 games last year, Jake.
In a premiership side. Look, I'm tipping Geelong. I'm just playing devil's advocate, Tags, and I knew that would frustrate you a little bit as well. So.
Immensely.
Yeah.
Geelong $1.49 to win the flag. Hawthorn next best at $5.40. The Bulldogs $18.50. Is that overs?
No, it's right.
What if they beat Hawthorn this week?
Then they'll tighten.
So what if you back the Bulldogs this week at $18.50 for a small amount, and then you lay them off next week after they beat them?
You're a very shrewd punter.
Correct. The rest you can really forget about. Brownlow, Ablett $2.72, Bartel $4.20, Harvey $5.60, Riewoldt $25. Just noticed a spelling mistake.
Yeah. That looks to be a race in 3, I think, Tags.
I think so.
Bartel could be the sleeper there. He's tightened significantly late in the season, but Ablett could be that far in front after sort of round 15. It could just be boom goes the dynamite.
You can't be a sleeper at $4.20, second favourite.
No, well, perhaps he was a few weeks ago, and he's waking up now.
Okay, All-Australian team, what did you make of it?
I thought it was reasonable. There are a few notable omissions, I thought, being David Hill from Essendon, Cameron Ling and Alan Didak. That's just absurd and political and wrong that that's happened.
It is completely wrong. I read that Eddie Maguire wanted Davis and Cloak and these guys in, but didn't even mention Didac.
Cloak hasn't got a kick all year. Didac had the most kicks in the comp at round 18, where he played every game. It's absurd that he's not in.
You can't bet on this, obviously, but
take a good hard look, selectors.
We're furious, regardless. The NRL, which is clearly playing second fiddle this weekend to the AFL. There's one game of note, though. The Roosters versus the Dragons. They're on, almost similar points, 32 and 30 points. Last round of the year, $1.96 the Roosters, the Dragons $1.91. Jake, which way are you going?
The Dragons. I think the Roosters have lost the plot. They were flying early in the season. I think in the last week or so, Freddie Fittler, the Roosters coach, has been showing the players videos of their early season form to try and galvanise them, but you can't have them on their recent form. St George, on the other hand, are playing well, so I'm going to go with them.
Okay, Manly have gone top, but they're still available at $5.60 in the Premiership market. The Storm, $1.94. They've cooled a little bit with punters.
Yeah,
they're obviously primed to dropping a game. Is that going to happen in the final series?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so, and they've got the wood over Manly. So Storm, if you can get even money or better, take that.
Brisbane, the next best at $9.80. The rest, $15 plus. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Carna Cats.